So hi everyone, I'm recording this from my mom's place. I'm just visiting for a couple of days, which is why there's unfamiliar surroundings. I wanted to talk about the idea of content market fit because it's an important concept that we need to understand before we embark on any major content marketing initiatives. What do I mean with content market fit? Let's rewind a little bit. Let's think about there is a concept called product market fit in the world of product management and in startups more generally. And product market fit is the point where you have addressed your market's needs to a point where you just need to keep shoveling money into the machine, so to speak, and will generate returns. Okay, so that is the idea of product market fit. If we translate that into content marketing, it's a very similar concept there. Because when you start with content marketing, you will not immediately be successful. There will be a couple of iterations that you need to do before you find a fit, right? Because your market is looking for something in your area that you can address from a content standpoint. They're looking for information and you're able to give them this kind of information. And you will not instantly hit the bullseye. And that is an important concept to understand because many companies that I see, they produce a little bit of content. They don't get a lot of response from it, as is perfectly natural. Nobody would expect an entrepreneur to immediately hit it when they start out with a new product or solution. Yet many people, when they do content marketing, they publish a few blog posts. They don't get much response for it. And then they say, well, content marketing doesn't work. Well, that's a wrong approach to take. And I'm here to tell you that there is a process of constant iteration that you need to do in order to find content market fit. And I have a good example of that. I spoke recently to a friend of mine who's written a book, and the book is called Be More Pirate. The guy's name is Sam Conniff Allende, and I've written about it on my Forbes column. I'm going to link to it in the description below. And I also did a podcast interview, so you can listen to that. And in the interview, we also talk about the process with which he arrived at his result. And that's really interesting because the way he did it, he had the idea of taking the idea of pirates in the 17th century, what was it, early 18th century, and to say that they were not just bandits of the sea, they were the first version of disruptors, examples of entrepreneurs that we glorify today. Like Steve Jobs essentially was a pirate. That was kind of his point. And there's a couple of other examples like any mold breakers, any rule breakers like Malala or Elon Musk. That was his idea. All right, so this idea is there. What did he do? He didn't simply just start writing about it and publish a book. No, he went and put this idea into the market. How? He did a series of talks. Right? So he's a very good speaker, and he said, well, let me just run this idea past a few people of my future target audience, and let's see what they have to say. And I met him at an event, at a founders event in summer 2017. That's where I first saw him. And he was giving a talk about the idea of pirates, and he was essentially glorifying the idea of pirates in the 18th century. And the name of the talk was Be More Pirate. And I honestly, when I saw it, I took offense with it because my thinking was, this is moral relativism. Pirates were not only disruptors of the status quo, they were not the renegades of the seas, they were also bandits. They were stealing, they were killing, they were raping, they were plundering. So this is not just, you cannot simply say be more pirate without acknowledging this moral problem that pirates have. And I was watching the talk and I was really unhappy with how he presented pirates in a uniformly great light. And I would not have taken well to that talk. But at the end, he said, if there's anything that you didn't like about this talk, if you have any objections, email me. And so I was writing that email address down because I really wanted to email him and tell him my opinion, because I need to always share my opinion. Anyway, and so he responded to my email. And my email's message was essentially, hey, you're engaging in moral relativism here because yes, the times were really hard at the time, but this doesn't mean that you need to kill and steal from other people. And he took it very well, and we engaged in a fierce and extremely long email battle about this idea, and it was very productive. You know, he kind of took some of my arguments on board and he went against some of them and so on. So it was a very, very good discussion that I had. And in retrospect, when I think about it, this is his process of finding content market fit. He presented the idea to an audience. The audience, in this case me, responded negatively to it and gave him a couple of ideas. What did that result in? If you read the book now, there's a section in the beginning that talks about the problem of potentially moral relativism. And that is an example, there's a perfect example of finding content market fit, because he was looking for an audience. I'm probably exactly smack in that audience, right? And he was looking for an audience, and he wanted to make sure that the message resonates with his audience. And that's what he did. So he went to give a series of talks and found people who objected to his thoughts, and this then made the book and the result much better in the end. And that's what I would like to encourage you to do. For example, I have a friend, she is putting out a lot of like coaching messages, and she's like a personal and life coach. And I was giving her feedback the other day that I think that the audience, the precise audience, the people who would want to pay her for her services, will not resonate to this particular message that she's giving out. Because I was thinking it was too simplistic what she's giving out, and I think she needs to be a little bit more sophisticated, which she can be, and she has all the knowledge, but she doesn't do it enough, and her messages were a little bit too bland and too run-of-the-mill. So that is, she's giving her audience some content, but I think she's not tailoring it to the right audience who has the money to pay her. So that is one thing. You need to find the content that will suit your audience, and then you need to iterate on it. Maybe one video will resonate, she's doing videos, maybe one video will really resonate well with her audience. Well, then you need to analyze, why did this video resonate well? What can we do that is more in that vein? And this kind of constant cycle of iteration, that is finding content market fit. So that's what I would like to encourage you to do as you're creating content marketing, as you're creating your amazing content about like all the industry knowledge that you have, that you can share with your audience. Make sure that you are engaged in an iterative, sort of scientific process that helps you find that fit where your audience really resonates to it, and where they will actually subscribe to your stuff and they will open your emails. There's some people, I think like Tim Ferriss mentioned that he has like over 50% of open rate on his 5 Bullet Friday email. He has really found content market fit. So that is absolutely possible. You can do that too. You just need to iterate and not give up after the first couple of blog posts or videos that you put out. All right, that's it for today. If you want to hear more of this kind of stuff, then please subscribe. And I'm going to be sending you probably once a week. There's going to be a couple of new points. And I see you soon. Thanks a lot.